It's Stephen Piercy right here on your Classic Metal Show with Recipe for Disaster. I think that spells it out right there for you, Chris.
Didn't like that song.
You didn't like it?
No. That I don't know what it is about that song. Just was not feeling that at all.
Is it too modern?
I don't know. It just felt lazy.
Lazy?
It was a lazy Steven song.
You didn't think it had enough substance to it?
No. That's one that I'm glad he recorded solo. Don't need to have that one appear on the new Rat album.
All right. Well, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean it's not the worst song I've ever heard, but I've heard better.
But you like I Can't Take It, right?
Well, I did the first 400 times you played it, but after that, no, I like that song. I
dig that song a lot.
Really?
I do.
I never would have guessed. You play that one a ton, dude.
I do.
That's like your go-to that doesn't start with a D and end with an N.
Sure. I dig that. I like the direction that Steven was going with that.
Okay.
He, according to what he was saying, in his last email is that, he's going to get back in the studio. Of course, if something happens here, I don't know if that's going to be interrupted or not, but, he's going to finish out the full length album with that music.
Okay.
So I don't know if that would be, a very Rat album or if he would prefer to just record a record with Rat.
Yeah, well, you would think that if he has to do an album, he would do a Rat album.
Sure.
That's got to make more money than a Steven album.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
plus, I think, like I said before, I think they still owe Roadrunner one record.
Right.
Because I think they had a 2-record deal, and I think when he had left Rat again on this go-around, that even though that they weren't getting along, i.e. Blotzer, he said he would still consider recording with that lineup just to fulfill the obligation, but obviously they never did.
Well, we'll see what they do now. I'm intrigued.
So am I. I mean, are you really going to miss Blotzer?
Who?
Exactly.
Don't miss him now.
Sure. But my point is the 3 principal members of Rat, being Stephen, Warren, and Juan, along with Carlos and another drummer.
Right.
They could make a Rat record, and it would be as good, if not better, than any of them.
Sure. I'm sure it would be.
So, who knows?
We will see.
We will see. All right. About a year ago, last summer, it was very hot and heavy because of all the Black Lives Matter.
Right.
Was a very, very heavy summer for racism. And one of the symbols that have endured here in this country for the last 236 years is the Confederate flag. I shouldn't say 236 years, but at least 136 years or more.
Needs to be over.
Yeah. Well, there's still people, especially in the South, who still are hanging on to the Confederate flag.
Okay.
We're going to take a call here.
All right.
Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Hail and kill. My name's John Arash. I'm from Oklahoma.
Are you really from Oklahoma?
Oklahoma, that's right.
Where?
Yeah.
You sound like you're putting on an accent, my friend. So what are you doing?
Well, maybe. But I just want to comment on the Right Lives Matter. And just wanted to have some friends at a concert with a fake rat right now, Newkirk, Oklahoma. And, I guess Blotzer had a meltdown during their show. And
Really?
He walked off stage, and I guess Warren had to come on, midway through the set. And I guess Blotzer is now going back out on stage now to play the rest of the Rat set. So it looks like some tables or things of that nature did fly around.
But
So I just wanted to.
You're trying too hard. The bit has fallen flat here, Nathan.
they're telling us you got to go.
Okay.
Fell flat.
Wah, 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 wah.
Didn't quite catch.
Oh, didn't quite. Wow. Caught an earlier flight.
It did.
Jesus.
We'll try to capitalize on things that we've said and try to turn it around and make it funny. Doesn't work.
Guys, I'm just going to say it. There's only one that's allowed. There's two that are allowed to call in and do a bit. Doghouse, Norse Law. I can't think of anybody else. Can you?
No.
Those two, acceptable. Everybody else, just call in and be yourself. For
Sure.
God's sakes. Come on.
Doing bits really does take a certain amount of talent.
Yeah.
And Norse's got it down, obviously. And, Doghouse has got it down with his key figures.
Right.
So they know how it works.
Yeah. Everybody else, just stop.
Yeah.
Please.
All right. Getting back to what I was saying. So last year, the Confederate flag took a hit.
Okay.
And a lot of commercial sites, i.e. eBay, Amazon, some of the bigger well-known names, they pulled the sale of Confederate flags.
Sure.
Couldn't buy them anymore.
Right.
I remember, when everybody when that shooting happened down in South Carolina at the church, all of a sudden it was taboo to have a Confederate flag.
Do you remember the kid's name?
Don't remember it off the top of my head.
Dylan Roof.
Yeah. He came off the roof.
Yeah, Dylan Roof.
So
anyway, I'm just curious if it's been 3 months and he's already forgotten.
Well, it's been a year.
Oh, has it been a year?
Yeah, it happened last year, which is the reason why all the Confederate flags are pulled because of that shooting at the church.
Okay, I just didn't realize it was that long ago.
Yeah, it's been a year already.
Okay, wow.
But regardless of that, there are still people.
Before that, do you feel safer now that they've been pulled?
No, because it's not about people of Caucasian that has an issue with it. It's making the people of color feel comfortable.
You mean Chicago wasn't made more safe because the flag was
wasn't made more safe because the flag was taken down? No.
What?
Nope.
How can it be?
Nope.
Okay, I'm stunned by this news.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that if we removed the flag, all racism would be ended.
Sure.
That's what they made it seem like.
Well, as with a lot of the statues of various Civil War people, that are being removed from the public square.
Yeah.
They're taking down, statues of General Lee and taking down, various Civil War memorabilia because it's racist.
Right.
Well, there's still people out there who aren't aware that, according to the media, that the Confederate flag is racist or makes people, quote unquote, uncomfortable.
Oh, okay.
A Georgia police officer got fired for flying the Confederate battle flag at her suburban Atlanta home.
At her home?
At her home.
Okay.
In front of her house.
Yeah.
She's a police officer in Roswell, Georgia.
Okay.
She got fired because she was flying a Confederate flag at her house.
I think I'd be suing over that.
Well, let's find out the details here.
Okay.
The officer was fired for flying the Confederate battle flag at her suburban Atlanta home and said she had, here's what I have a hard time believing now. This is, you got to find the truth in the middle here.
Okay.
She had no idea that the emblem was controversial.
Oh, stop.
And is appealing her termination.
Come on.
She had no idea.
No, none.
What? People find the Confederate flag controversial or offensive?
I can't believe it.
Former Roswell police sergeant Sylvia Cotris, Cotriss,
Okay.
has been flying the battle flag below the American flag in front of her house in the nearby town of Woodstock for more than a year with no complaints.
Right.
If I knew it offended someone, my friends, my family, I wouldn't do it. Notice how she narrows it down to her friends and family.
Right, of course.
Cotris, a 20-year veteran officer of the Roswell Department, told the newspaper in an interview, police officers have to adjust a lot of things in our lives, and for 20 years, my whole life has been about making change and being held to a higher standard, she said.
Right.
We take on an oath to help and protect people, so we can't have a private life that's really bad. On July 11th, a man living nearby saw the flag in Cotris's yard as he drove his daughter and son to preschool. He complained to the Roswell police chief, which ultimately led to her firing.
Get the fuck out of here. This is so stupid.
I know. Don't people have better things to do? This just like a couple of weeks ago, I read that story about that meth head chick who went on private property and ripped somebody's flag down because it was racist. Mm-hmm. I'm taking that from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have that.
Yeah, because it offends me, man.
Mm-hmm. The man said Cotris's vehicle, her police vehicle, was in the driveway, but Cotris denies that in the newspaper reported. Her firing comes after efforts across the nation last year to remove various Confederate battle flags and statues and other symbols of the Civil War from government property in response to complaints.
Okay, that's government property, not personal property.
Right. Those efforts include South Carolina Governor's Nikki Haley's call to remove the Confederate battle flag in front of the state capitol, which fueled fierce protests from opponents and supporters of the flag. The firing of Cortez also comes amid current tensions between police agencies and residents in several U.S. cities following high-profile shootings in which officers killed or wounded black men.
Uh-oh.
Cotris said she and her husband, who died recently, had gotten a Confederate battle flag in May of 2015 during a vacation at Panama City, Florida, for a popular biker festival known as Thunder Beach. The battle flag had a motorcycle in the center, and Cotris flew it beneath the American flag on a towering pole in her front yard.
Right.
A neighbor later offered a new battle flag without the motorcycle when the earlier one became worn. Cotris said she removed the flag this month when investigators informed her of the complaint. In an interview with detectives, Cotris was asked why she would have to allow the Confederate flag to be flown, especially in today's environment. Cotris explained that the flag was part of her history, part of the South, part of the history involving the Civil War. She denied having negative feelings.
See, this is where Cotris is all wrong here. Cotris's answer should have been this. Thinking about it, I really think, fuck you. That's it. There's no explanation needed. How about that? How about, I don't know, you dick. Who the fuck are you? Suck my fucking jizz, you fucking cunt. That would be the answer. You're a fucking cunt.
Right.
Just like this is the same answer. Just like when I went to the voting poll. Remember I told that story about the guy asked me who I was voting for?
Sure.
I told him I'm voting for fuck you. That's who. That's her answer for this. Why are you waving the flag? Well, I'm waving it because fuck you. That's it. Enough with this fucking pandering. Why is this person making an excuse for something she feels is okay? Why would you ever fucking do that? Right?
I completely agree with you. If I was going to fly the flag, which I have zero problem with the Confederate flag, I think it's actually cool, to be honest with you.
I could give a shit. It's just like there was a story today about the gay parade being canceled here in Cleveland. And it's like, who gives a fuck? Why do you give a fuck? Why do you need to celebrate who you fuck? You know, and more to the point, why do you need to tell anybody? Why do you have the need to fucking explain yourself to anybody? You want to suck a dick? Suck a dick.
Well,
you want to wave a flag? Wave a flag.
But see, here's the thing, and we've talked about this before.
Right.
It's this I want to rub this in your face.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to somehow rub this in your face. It's just like what I was talking about when I went out to the Inside Metal screening, and we went to Holly. You know, we were down there late at night at a 24-hour cafe, and you know, most of the people, you know, waiters working there were very swishy gays.
Right.
You know, they're very flamboyant, and they have to flaunt it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like, look at me. Look at me. I'm gay. I dare you to say something about it.
Yeah.
You know.
But the problem is not, you know what? The problem is not that swishy fag that's daring you. It's the pussies that won't. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that everybody is so afraid now to be called a name, to take a label, to, you know, fuck you. That's the answer.
Sure.
If more people would just have the simple about anything in their life, whatever it is about your life, you don't, I'll say for you, Neeley, I'll say you don't donate to enough causes. Your answer to me should be, fuck you. None of your fucking business. Right?
I agree.
That should always be your answer. I hate to tell people this, but it's really, really simple. The answer to everything is fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me a question, any question.
Well, it's the theme of the show, Chris. It's fuck you, pal.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, any question you could ask anybody about their opinions, their politics, their character, their life, the answer is fuck you. If you give anything other than fuck you, then you're trying to convince somebody to agree with you. Your answer should always be fuck you. That's my new motto. In my America, we say, fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
Trump supporter.
Right. I guess.
That's what he's caught all the backlash for, hasn't it? Because he basically says what he thinks. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the answer is fuck you. I don't owe you an explanation about any thought that I have.
Sure.
You saw this thing this week where I got called out for not using my superpower.
Yeah, I saw that, and I meant to introduce you tonight as Chris Superpower Aiken.
But isn't that the same thing? And what was my answer? My answer was, I don't owe you a fucking niceness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't owe you to be polite. I don't owe you to fucking see your side. I don't owe you to feel like... And for people that don't know, I was basically told this week by a total left-leaner that the biggest problem with me is that what was it that I don't
use your superpower for good.
Yeah,
You're an antagonizer. You antagonize people and you work them up into a lather.
Yeah.
When you could be, being more agreeable.
Right. I have a knack for drawing people to listen to me, so I should use it for good instead of just having fucking fun. And my answer was, I don't owe you that. I don't know anybody that. I don't know anybody a goddamn thing. And that should be everybody's answer on every one of these fucking issues. Don't like my flag? Well, here's what I think about that. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm not taking my flag down. Suck my dick. That's it. That's the only answer. Anything other than that, then you're going to look like the bad guy.
Sure. I agree. All right, to finish this up, when the detective told her the flag had been a symbol used by Dylan Roof, who killed 9 church worshipers in Charleston, South Carolina,
yeah,
Cottress said she was not aware of its relationship to the shooting.
Who? Dylan who?
In an interview with the Journal Constitution, Cottress said she had no idea that the flag was offensive to some people, despite the fact that the debate swirling around the flag has been in the news for more than a year.
Well, not everybody watches the news.
Well, that is true. There's some people don't watch the news.
Yeah.
Cops don't watch the news because we live it every day and don't want to see it again at night.
I'm sure there were no briefings either about violence for these fucking flags.
Right.
In the South.
Sure. But she said she did not want the flag to cause people to mistrust her as an officer. Well, you don't have to worry about that because you lost your job.
You're fired.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll trust you as the security guard that you're now going to be at 2 a.m. walking around the fucking warehouse.
Sure. In its termination of Cottress, Roswell Police Captain Helen Duncan wrote that she had engaged in conduct that was unbecoming, which brought discredit to the Roswell Police Department when she flew the flag in her yard.
Baloney.
In recent months, Roswell Police Chief Rusty Grant has been visiting several churches in the Roswell area to build bridges with residents.
Ugh. I would sue. I would sue this police department if I was this person, this cop.
Yeah.
Unless they specifically said you can't have that flag.
Or it was in like the code of conduct or something.
But it would have to be specific to that flag.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, they can't just go with the fucking vague conduct unbecoming. Because what does that mean? If the next guy, if I would go into court and say, you know what, everybody in this fucking police department swears. Is that conduct unbecoming? Is that worse or less? Is that more or less violent than this flag? Saying in the locker room that somebody's a fucking asshole. Is that more or less offensive? And then I'd win my money, and then I would fucking walk away with a big chunk of money.
Sure.
I would sue on this one.
Absolutely. Hail and kill caller, you're on the air.
Can you hear me?
Yes?
Yeah, about the Confederate flag. I was at this beach. Well, I don't want to say where it was.
Why
There was
not?
this group of kids.
Why won't you?
The
Why won't?
Confederate flag.
Yeah. So, what was it out on Lunata Beach? Was the beach where the Bay Boys involved?
No.
No. Okay, go ahead.
But it was this group of 6, I'm assuming, college students. One of them had like a Confederate flag towel, and a bunch of the gift shops there had like Confederate flag, just memorabilia. And there was this black girl. So probably was awkward.
Why was it awkward?
I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming it was.
You're assuming it was. Well, was there an issue being made in public over it?
Nope.
So you were uncomfortable.
No, I wasn't.
So why are you calling in then? If this wasn't an uncomfortable situation for you, how do you know the black girl was uncomfortable?
Beats me. I don't know. I'm just assuming she was uncomfortable.
You're assuming that, but you don't know that as fact.
Well, what would you have liked to have happened? Should they have burned their towel and said, I'm sorry, black girl, you can't see this?
That would have been funny.
That would have been funny?
I don't know.
Now, I'm not picking on you here. I just want to know your thoughts. Truly, I want to know your thoughts. When you called the show tonight and you wanted to add that 2 cents in, what really is going through your mind here? Did you really think that this black girl was uncomfortable because somebody had a towel that looked like a Confederate flag?
Did I think she was uncomfortable? Probably.
Probably, but you don't know that, right?
Right.
Okay. So don't you think that this is the media saying to you that all black people are uncomfortable anytime there's a Confederate symbol around?
I mean, I think so.
You think so? So she didn't run away from the beach screaming and hollering and yelling racism or anything like that. You just more or less projected that she was having an issue with it.
More or less.
Yeah. Okay. So is this white guilt?
No, I just called in to bring this up for no particular reason.
Would you feel guilty if you would have had the Confederate flag towel and a black girl walked up?
Should I feel guilty if that were me?
No. Would you? I'm not saying should you. I'm saying would you?
Depends, I guess.
What does it depend on?
Good point. I don't know.
Dude, your management's telling us you got to go.
All right, hail and kill.
Well, again, here a guy, one of our fans, obviously.
Yeah.
He thinks that this black girl was uncomfortable with the sight of a beach towel that looked like a Confederate flag.
Right.
She may not have even looked at it and thought, man, I'm really offended by that.
See, but this goes to the bigger point. Who cares if she's offended? At what point did we decide that we owe everybody to not be offended? We don't owe them that. We don't, and by them, I mean anybody. Not just black people, just in general.
Sure.
You don't owe anybody a goddamn thing. You don't owe anybody politeness. You don't owe anybody respect. You don't owe anybody money. You don't owe anybody shit. You choose those things. You choose to owe people. You choose to give people respect. You choose to give people, something that makes them outraged. You choose to let them fucking have influence in how you feel. Stop it. So if you want to do something, just fucking do it. I know for our fans, they're probably like, fuck it, Confederate flag, whatever, this or that. What are they going to do 3 years down the line? Because this is the direction that things are going. When they start banning the tunes that don't fucking play nice.
Sure.
What are they going to do when they say, well, Slayer, that talks about killing. And that makes me scared. I need a safe place when that music is on. Or that Judas Priest, that scares me. That's not safe anymore. What are they going to do? Stop listening to their tunes or tell people to go fuck themselves? You got to fucking get in the habit right now, while this is fucking not fully indoctrinated to everybody, to tell people to go fuck themselves. You have to do it. Sorry that's not comfortable to some of you pussies, but you got to just fucking do it. You got to fucking stand up.
I agree. Well, isn't that what heavy metal has, typically been all about, is rebellion in your face, against the grain?
Yeah.
Well, not our fans specifically, but fans of music, metal, they're capitulating to that thought process. Like, well, yeah, I better not make anybody offend anybody. That's not making them uncomfortable.
Well, the Anselmo thing is the one that shows you what a bunch of pussies this generation of metalheads are. 10 years ago, let's say, 2006, if Philip Anselmo would have done his little Nazi salute, would anybody have been boycotting or protesting this fucking guy?
Not at all.
People have been like, whatever, it's just fucking Phil. Or who gives a shit? Fucking hostile. You know, that's what people would have said.
Yeah.
You know, they'd have been like, fuck you for being offended, you fucking fag. But now it's a big deal. Now you got fucking faggy Rob Flynn fucking writing songs about it. Gotta be polite to air. Shut up. Shut up. Stop being a bitch. Just fucking make your music and shut up.
Hail and kill caller, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Joe down in Atlanta.
What's up, Joe? It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been. But hey, so I'm basically originally from like San Diego, and so I was sort of raised where being racist and all that is, you know, almost worse than being a pedophile. So
Okay.
I come here, I moved to the South, and yeah, there's lots of people that still fly, you know, the stars and bars behind their trucks and stuff like that. And when I talk to them, they say, you know, it's all about legacy and history and honor and all that sort of stuff. But in my mind, the whole racism, slavery, that whole thing kind of tainted the Southern flag, sort of in the same way that, you know, the swastika back in the day, that was, you know, a Native American symbol for peace and love, and it's a Hindu symbol for all these other things. But the Hindus and the Native Americans, they can't use a swastika anymore because the Nazis went and screwed up that symbol for them. And it's sort of the same thing with the Confederate flag, where it's, yeah, it was maybe supposed to stand for something good and honorable, but it kind of got screwed up and messed up. And so what I tend to do, instead of just, you know, being a jerk about it or whatever, is when I see someone, you know, stop at a gas station that has one of those big flags behind their trucks or something, I purposely keep an American flag in my trunk with $20, and I'll go up to them and say, hey, let me buy that Southern flag from you for $20, and I'll give you this American flag. And the couple times I've done that, the people have asked why, and I say, well, you know, it kind of makes me look bad. You know, I kind of care less about your opinion, but me as someone who lives in the South now, I don't know, it just makes me and my family and my kids look bad when people see the South and they see people still rolling around with that thing. But
Well,
do
you personally find the Confederate battle flag offensive?
I don't find it offensive, but I sort of understand how people could find it offensive.
Well, how could they find it offensive? Just based on, you know, the fact that at one point our country was divided, you know, in the North and the South, obviously, and you know they were trying to set up their own government, and you know, obviously
right.
There was a battle between the North and the South, which of course the North won, and you know, we became the United States and whatnot. But there are people, and I get both sides of the story, and I'm not defending it one way or the other, but there are people who really do believe that flag represents a way of life, not necessarily because we're racist or I hate niggers or whatever the case may be. It's just that for whatever reason, people seem to attach themselves to some kind of legacy, and they don't necessarily look at the stars and bars, as you put it, as a racist symbol. I mean, I have Confederate flags. I own them, but I don't look at them and go, man, that's fuck you to the niggers. That doesn't even resonate with me. It's just like, you know, it's a part of history. It's a part of this country. It's an interesting time in our history, but I don't look at it as like giving the finger to be racist. But for people who do fly it today, and I'm with Chris on this, it does go against political correctness to have that, to go, you know what, I don't care what you think. I'm going to fly my Confederate flag, and I don't give a shit what you think.
Well, and down here, most of the times when you see someone flying one of those on their trucks, they also have the "Don't Tread on Me" flag next to it also. So I think, a lot of times it's just sort of a big middle finger to the political correctness of the world. But I personally, I wouldn't fly it just because when I see it, I do see the bad elements that sort of co-opted that flag. It'd be like if all the pedophiles in the world suddenly started, like, I don't know, wearing Fruit Loops T-shirts or something like that. And I think at a certain point, when enough, pedophiles went public with their Fruit Loop T-shirts and stuff, I think I would say, I don't think I'm going to wear a Fruit Loop T-shirt just because this group of people has kind of messed it up for the rest of us.
Okay, but here's the other side, Joe. And I'm not saying you're right, but I'm saying you're wrong to me, to how I would live.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Freedom of speech and freedom of expression is not about the things that feel good. It has got to be, you have to have freedom of speech and you have to have freedom of expression for the things that make you feel hideous. The Nazi thing as a prime example. Nobody is advocating to go out and round up a bunch of Jews and cook them in the oven. Nobody's advocating that anymore, except for that select few dummies that are fucking still trying to live like it's 1939 Germany, that are doing all the Zeke Heil shit and still wearing their KKK uniforms or whatever. The problem with trying to say you can't do that is that what you're doing is you're taking everybody's freedom away from them and you're putting it all into the hands of whoever is dictating what is or is not good. So,
I absolutely agree, and I'm not saying anything about you can't. I'm just saying, it's the same with like when the Iraqis or whatever wanted to build a mosque right by Ground Zero.
Yeah.
Legally, sure, they have a right to do that, but ethically and morally, if you want to be a dick, sure, you could do that, but it's just, not the most nice and friendly thing. And I'm definitely not saying, you should be able to fly those colors and, do whatever you want to do, but
you have to, and this is a big thing that I think, especially the younger generation, I don't think our age people do this, but I think the next generation that's coming does this a lot. They all make their points and don't feel like they have to be accountable for things. And when I say accountable, I don't only mean legally accountable. I'll use your mosque example as a point. Legally, they could build that mosque there. Realistically, they are going to be getting rocks through their windows every single week, and they're going to be targeted. And there are going to be friends and relatives of people that died in 9/11 that are absolutely going to be down there some night with a ball bat and fucking skull somebody. That's reality. That's the reality. And if they're going to truly build their mosque there, then they better be ready for that.
Yep, and I agree completely. It goes to a generational thing of I could be a total jerk to your face, and then when you sock me in the nose, I'm going to be super, super surprised and all indignant and say, why did you do that?
Exactly.
But, all right, cool deal. Hail and kill, guys.
All right, man. Later.
There goes Joe.
Am I wrong?
No, not at all. Not at all. But the thing is because now, since all the upheaval and the backlash over this Confederate flag thing,
yeah.
Instead of if I were to see a Confederate flag being flown, like Joe says, on the back of a pickup truck or even in front of somebody's house,
yeah.
The only way that I personally look at it now is someone saying "fuck you" to political correctness now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look at it as a racist symbol anymore. I just look at it as a big middle finger now.
Yeah. Have you seen you drive every day, and I drive too. Have you seen any of these Hillary stickers or I'm with her or blah, blah, blah?
Not
whatever?
a one. I have not seen one yet.
How about Obama ones in the last 8 years?
Nope.
You've never seen an Obama sticker in 8 years.
Oh yeah, I've seen the Obama 2012. Yeah.
How many do you think you've seen?
100?
100?
Yeah, about that. Not that many.
50.
Yeah, at least.
Okay, let's go with an easy number like 50.
Okay.
How many of those 50 did you run off the road and kill?
None.
Why not?
It doesn't mean that much to me.
There it is. It shouldn't mean that much to you. Why should it mean anything to you?
Means nothing to me.
That guy's dumber than me.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
That's it.
Next. So what? That's what's missing with people. Everybody wants to fucking have this big goddamn, I'm going to be right, and I'm going to show you, and I'm going to tell you where you're wrong, and I'm going to school. Fuck you. I don't care what anybody says about anything. If you come to my fucking museum, pay me. Outside of getting that fucking 20 or 40 out of your pocket, I don't give a fuck what you got to say. You buy my book, cool. Your review, if you like it, good. You don't, good. But I got your 20. That's all I care about. That's all I should care about.
Sure.
Should I, with me writing the book, should I be offended if somebody says, this book is fucking bullshit?
Right.
Oh, should I fucking roll around in the fetal position?
No, you should go find out who wrote it, go to their house and set it on fire.
Exactly.
Do you remember Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Sure.
Remember one of the things in that movie, the theme in that movie, where they were reading all the online reviews of the movie?
Oh, yeah.
And they took all the money that they earned from that movie, from their residuals, from their royalties, and they went door to door to everybody who made some kind of a critical comment about them and went, did you say blah, 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 and then they went and beat them up?
Right, I remember that, yeah.
That's the same thing.
It is. Enough with everything having some kind of an effect on you. Enough. I mean, and you say it all the time. It's Facebook. Everybody gets a voice, and especially a lot of people that shouldn't get a voice. And I guess that's somewhat true. But I think what I think is that the not having to say it to somebody's face is what empowers people to say their shit.
Well, yeah, when you can do it anonymously, behind a keyboard, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But would you do it in public or face to face? No, chances are you wouldn't do that.
If I was sitting on my porch, and I had a Confederate flag in the front yard, how many people do you think would come up to me?
Never.
Probably nobody.
It wouldn't happen.
Because I look like I'm a fucking problem. So nobody would do it. Nobody would do it.
They'd sit there and they'd complain, to their significant other or their friend. Look at that fucking guy down there. He's got that Confederate flag in the yard.
They'd take a picture and post it on their Facebook. Look at this asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make him famous. He's got the flag. Shut up. Go ahead, make me famous, you fucking cunts. I fucking hate people. I hate them.
I know. Well, again, I don't even look at the Confederate flag anymore as a symbol of racism or the South or anything. I just look at it now as somebody saying, fuck you.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to fly my Confederate flag. Fuck you.
Exactly.
That's the way that I look at it now. I look at it as the rebel flag. It truly is now the rebel flag. Mm-hmm. They used to refer to it as the rebel flag all the time anyway, but now it truly is the rebel flag.
Right.
Because if you're flying one, you're rebelling against, politically correct society. That truly is now the rebel flag.
Do you think that let's pick flags? Do you think there's a difference, I guess, between the rebel flag and the gay flag.
Do I think there's a difference?
See, because to me, I think they're exactly the same. They both represent something that a large portion of America doesn't believe in.
Yeah, I agree.
So as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to ban one, you ban them all.
Sure.
No more fag flags.
Yeah, but one is more politically correct than the other.
Why?
Well, because if you go by political correctness standards, politically correct, the wisdom behind the Confederate flag is that it's a racist flag. It means I hate niggers.
And the gay flag means as a man I hate pussy.
No.
Yes.
Well, maybe, but the gay flag says I accept you for who you are.
Does it, or does it say I purposely don't go by societal standards?
Well, again, but the thing is and I said this, preface this, I said by political correct standards, not by normal standards or general standards. It's a way of saying that recognize me as someone who may be different than you and maybe have a different lifestyle, but again, it's this whole accept. See, the thing is gay is not supposed to be a negative thing.
Yeah.
Racist is a negative thing. You see? So
what would you rather do? Would you rather have sex with a black woman or get fucked in the ass?
Oh, I'd have black sex.
Okay. So in your mind in particular, gay is worse than rebel flag.
Yeah, in my mind, as a straight heterosexual male, yes.
Okay, so that's my point. If you're going to penalize A, you got to penalize B. You can't just, and this is where this current generation is so fucked, because they don't look at the whole picture of what they're complaining about. Their complaints are one-sided and they don't make sense. You can complain about anything. You can complain about the rebel flag. You can complain about hate speech. You can complain about bullying. But when you stop it on the playing field that you agree with or disagree with, you got to be ready for the other side when it's going to go against you too.
Well, again, this goes back to something that has been a theme on the CMS for as long as you've been involved.
Right.
About crossing my line.
Right.
You've crossed everybody uses, you crossed the line, and we've made it very, very clear. No, you crossed my line.
Right. Because we have no line.
So when anybody gets upset about something, it's not because somebody crossed the line.
Right.
They crossed your line.
That's right.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Because your line is not necessarily the line for everybody.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think that they speak for everyone.
Right.
And they don't.
No. And what's even sadder, and I hate to say it, but it's our generation on back. Because I'm seeing it a lot with people our age, and I literally want to hit them in the face with a fucking hammer. You know, have you noticed, and I'm seeing it specifically with the political stuff, but it goes across all boards. If you don't take the political stance, the politically correct stance, then that's because you are part of the lowest common denominator.
Of course.
Have you seen that now?
Yes, I have.
That's the lowest common denominator, you know. And I always laugh at that one because I'm like, I see this, and I get a lot of people that say it to me, and I'm like, okay, well, let's compare careers, and let's compare output, and let's compare success, and let's see where I've done X, Y, and Z, and I'm not that guy to. Well, I am that guy somewhat. Who am I lying to? I am that guy. I absolutely will use my resume to fucking challenge anybody if anybody wants to play that game. But don't tell me that I'm less than you when you're a fucking mid-level manager making $50,000 a year at some fucking lame company. Because fuck you, I've started two myself. You know, that doesn't make me lower than you. I certainly am smarter than you because I found a way to do it. I found a way to exceed you. So that doesn't make me the lowest common denominator, you fucking lazy bitch. You know, and that's honestly where it is. I just love that. But there's so many people that you know as well as I do in the election. There's going to be a lot of people that are just going to not vote. They're going to not vote because they don't want to be labeled.
Sure.
They don't want to be, I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb like they say because I like Trump, so I'm not going to vote at all. That's what's going on. People are just that fucking weak. This whole generational thing from our generation back right now, nobody can take a label. Nobody can take a name. Everybody's like, oh, no, I just want to live my life and not be bothered. Pussies.
Well, I want to point out, Mr. Aiken, that you're very hurtful when you use the term pussies.
Fine.
Because it's very hurtful when you say that.
Okay. Well, be hurt. As I say all the time, be hurt.
I don't like it when you're hurtful like that.
Not using my superpower well?
No, you're not using your superpower, and when you speak that way,
yeah,
my immediate reaction is I need to find a safe space.
And don't forget that you find me ignorant, and you know I am the lowest common denominator.
Mm-hmm. Because you don't think like me, so you're a lesser human, and you'll probably contract AIDS because I have a lower opinion of you.
Yes, good point.
We learned that last week from Charlize Theron.
Right. You're making good points here now.
Mm-hmm. So just because of your opinion, you're going to attract AIDS.
Yeah, probably true.
You're just going to get it. Because I have a lower opinion of you.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, I need a short break.
Yeah, I need a beer.
And so I thought I'd play something to wake you guys up.
All right.
Something that I like, one of my favorite songs ever. And you may or may not be surprised by this.
Okay.
It's Pantera.
What?
I'm broken!
Nice.
Here's Pantera exclusively here
On your classic metal show.
This is Philip H. Anselmo, and believe it or not, you're listening to the Classic Metal Show. Rock on.